What's up, everyone? This is what we got going on today. This is the Trex Arms Quad Flap Chest Rig, and we're gonna go through my setup and overall take on it. So to start off, it is simply put a 4-flap chest rig, hence the name Quad Flap Chest Rig. It's relatively straightforward in that sense. There's nothing groundbreaking or crazy with this guy. That being said, the flaps are secured with Velcro, hook and loop, whatever you want to call it, retention. There's all kinds of different magazine combinations you can fit into here. I have two 5.56 AR mags. They fit that pretty good. You can fit like one SCAR mag per pouch. You can fit 2 AK mags per pouch if you leave the flap open. If you want the flap closed, you can only fit one AK mag. You can fit a pistol if you want. Here's a pistol as such. I've used that setup before as well. So any similar sized item to like 2 AR mags, you can throw on in here. So versatility is a plus. These simple Velcro closure flap chest rigs are far more versatile, I think, than something along the lines of like an S-Tac with a Kydex insert, or even some like the HSGI Taco magazines. Those have some more versatility than like a Kydex insert, but even still, the versatility of the flap closure is a big plus to me. So with that being said, we have our 4 flaps. On either side is 3 rows of MOLLE. 3 rows of MOLLE, 3 columns of MOLLE. I much prefer the 3 columns of MOLLE as opposed to the Onward Research. Well, I'm totally blanking on that. I believe it is Onward Research. They're a recce rig where they have two rows of MOLLE. And to my knowledge, the idea behind that is that it's less material to go further around your body when worn, so better interface with packs and such. That being said, with the 3 columns that the Trex Arms setup here has, I've had no problem with pack interface at all. I have a video that I'll insert either here or the point I want to get at here is how did the quad flap integrate with the pack itself on my movement? And what did I feel? Were there any hot spots or anything along those lines? And the short answer is it integrated very well. Due to the backstrap design that they have, the H harness there, like these straps, I didn't feel any pressure from the pack pressing in on these guys, or even the backstrap here. This right here I was a little concerned about, but there was no pressure or anything, like no hot spots, like I said. The back it felt very slick, and I felt the pack on my back the way it should. So that was a plus. On the sides is the next big thing. Like when the pack's on me and I have the waist strap that comes above this piece, the waist strap. With some of these guys, particularly on like the issued TAPS rig that kind of wraps around the body far, when you put the waist strap on, it like pushes everything forward, and that makes me nuts. I can't stand that. So that was a concern with this, being that this does kind of wrap around the body like halfway. It kind of splits my body in half. Any further back and I would begin to kind of run into that, I think. But as it sits right now, I had minimal like forward pressure from the waist strap. So A+ there, very good stuff. And that's with the 3 rows of MOLLE as opposed to like the Onward Research recce rig that has the 2 rows. I like the 3 much better because it's far more compatible with pouches, and it still integrates with my packs fine. I can get that waist strap underneath my side pouches here, and it rides quite nicely. The pouches are hanging down off of the chest rig itself slightly, and that allows space for the waist strap to kind of wrap around and clear the chest rig itself and kind of float underneath these pouches, which is a major win for me. And then the waist strap buckles behind the Spiritus sack I got here, and it all works nice and seamlessly. So integration with the pack, very good so far. I'm going to try with other packs, obviously, but overall, like I said, the pack integration abilities of the quad flap, I'm very impressed with. So this is where these waist strap guys kind of float underneath the pouches. And while it looks like it's lifting up on the whole chest rig, it's kind of only the pouch, which I like a lot. And this guy gets buckled up. It's a little tight because I just had it on. Loosen her up. The buckle is right underneath the sack pouch. Tighten that up. Then I have the sternum strap. You can see this gap right in between the mag flaps and then the EUD pouch. That's where I run my sternum strap across. It kind of fits nicely just the way with the height settings on the shoulder straps. Kind of let it settle in a little bit. Just the tension, and that's it. So I can still open up this guy, check my maps or location or comms or whatever you got going on there. Let's see my button. Yep, hook that up. Obviously, magazine, there's no interference with any of that stuff. Sack pouch, no interference with getting to any of that. Canteen, easy to get to. But yeah, from the sides, you can kind of see where the strap rides along in relation to the pouch itself. The waist pack, same thing. You can see where that's all going, and just the whole walk around there. So overall, it's quite comfortable. To sum it all up, it rides quite nice. There's no bulging or pushing anywhere or hot spots or any negative results of the extra row, and the expansion of capability you get with pouches that fit 3 as opposed to 2 MOLLE columns is quite large. So with that being said, on either side, as worn on the right side, I have also a Trex Arms product, their Hydro pouch. In that, I keep a Nalgene canteen. When it comes to worn water sources, canteens are the way. Nalgene's, like the cylindrical type bottles, are all the rage because they're not an issued canteen. I really think that's kind of the root cause of their popularity. But I do not like wearing those on my body just due to the shape of them. I find that they kind of protrude more so than something like this, which is kind of contoured to fit the body and designed to be worn. So when it comes to wearing a water source on me, canteens are the way as far as I'm concerned. Underneath of them, I keep a generic set of gardening gloves. I don't even know where I got these. They're Atlas Nitrile Tough 370 medium. So these guys are like my go-to gloves, particularly for like liners or layers. You can use interface with phone screens. You have high dexterity. They're overlooked piece of gear. And I keep these in most of my setups, and with these, they go in the bottom of the Hydro pouch. My canteen sits right on top of them. As far as how I have the Hydro pouch set up, this is like classic USGI style here. With this pouch, it has a slit through to where I can take the flap and tuck the flap into the pouch as such, so you can have the canteen protruding from the top with the buckle going over it like that. I don't like that, and the reason being I find is when the lid is kind of sticking out, there's a lot of sharp edges here. So when you are donning and doffing the pack, if you will, putting the pack on and off, this can get hooked on the shoulder straps a lot, just because it is like this protruding sharp edge. So even though it is designed to be tucked away as I've got it right now, if you want to cooperate, I typically will keep the buckle looped through the little retainer band there, and then have the entire closure system kind of work as one. That allows the straps to kind of glide over it, or make it more likely that the straps will just glide over as opposed to snagging. Does it still happen? Yes, but that kind of, it's a way to alleviate that possibility. And that is a 2 rows of MOLLE product. You can see I still have that one remaining 3rd row. You know, the world is your oyster when it comes to that. Whatever you want to go there, if you need something, don't just put things on just for the sake of putting things on. Another little thing that they have here is they put a little tab. I don't know how well you can see that there, but this third tab here, as opposed to buckle interface at top and at bottom, they also have a third piece because they say that this rides better when worn with plate carriers, on top of plate carriers, so it doesn't like fall forward as much. I've never personally experienced that because I don't really run these over top of a plate carrier. It's certainly a viable option, I just don't do it as much. So if that's within your world, if that's within the way that you would use things, there you go, you have an option that might very well work or not work. I can't speak to it because I haven't done it. On the other side is their, I think they call this their tall GB pouch. In this guy, I have a bunch of things. It's got a main compartment and then these two zippered pouches on the front. Getting into the main compartment, I have a handheld laser rangefinder. This is a Vortex Ranger. I have my headlamp, because you always need an illumination source on you of some kind. And then I have my M24 binos that I just ordered these guys off eBay. I forget what they were. They really weren't all that expensive, relatively speaking. And it has a mill reticle, which is a big win. So this goes in whatever kit I'm using for the most part, unless I have a more specialized Bino LRF combo. But so that's the main pouch. I'll also put, if need be, batteries in here, or like sometimes small chem lights, but that's the main pouch loadout. On the smaller individual pieces, I got a mini tape measure here. I'm gonna do a separate video on little odds and ends that make all the difference in the world, and this is at the top of that list. A little tape measure, I find I always need it, whether it be measuring targets or measuring like height over bore or what have you. It's kind of like duct tape. You need this way more than you think you might. So I got this little guy that stays in the pouch. And speaking of duct tape, I've got a roll of duct tape in here as well. On the bottom pouch, a lighter, a fire source, because these are always good to have on you as well. It's a lighter, pretty straightforward. Like, I don't need a ferro rod. I want fire now. I got it right here. It's not a survival kit, but it is a fire source of some kind. And a small VS17 panel as well. That is on the left side as worn in their tall GP pouch. Put all the stuff away later. Underneath of it, I have a Spirited System sack pouch that's serving as my dangler here. What I got in here, this can serve as either my IFAC location, depending on what other kit I'm wearing. The last time I was wearing this, I had a belt on to where I keep my IFAC on the belt, so that frees up some space here. Again, depending on what other gear I have on, this will either be the IFAC or just serve as overflow like it is now. So I have a small little bundle of 550 chem lights in here, and on the interior loop panel that consists of, or that this pouch has, I've got spare batteries for the items that I have on me. And that's in the main compartment in this little front pouch here. I've got foamy ear pro. Again, this is something that I just like to have on me, whether batteries die or you don't have time to swap the batteries, or somebody's with you on the range that isn't normally and they need ear pro or whatever. Having a spare set of foamies that aren't anything fancy, I've found myself needing that quite a few times. So because of that, they've earned a place in my kit. Pen, Right in the Rain pen, Sharpie marker, and a lens pen. I forget where I got it. I think this came with like a TNVC order I put in, but this is just a lens pen. It is a useful tool for cleaning off optics or camera lenses or whatever, lens of any sort. It's got a little brush. It's got a little foamy piece, rubberized, whatever that is, for the lens, and a little clip. And a larger VS17 panel with some 550 tied off into the corner. I like the 550 tied off into the corner in case you need to like hang it from a tree or a vehicle or what have you, right? It just allows me to kind of hook it and leave it if I want to mark a location for further use or whatever circumstance may be. And a casualty card as well. That's just kind of a holdover from when I had an IFAC in here. And that is the Spirited Systems sack dangler pouch that I have going on here. Ooh. Put that away in the wrong spot. We'll leave all that stuff on. Working up top, I've got this pouch itself right here is a high-speed gear, what do they call it? Navigator pouch, I believe. And that is mounted to an Axle, I think it's advanced or unlimited. I think it might be, whatever it is, Axle advanced, excuse me, either Axle advanced or Axle unlimited JTAC adapter. So with the work I'm doing now with the Army unit that I'm in, I work at a schoolhouse, and it's very convenient to run a phone with a map app. I use Mill GPS for the most part. So this allows me to, once the students are in setting in like an ORP or like an LPOP or far security or near security or what have you, I can plot a point like instantaneously, immediately, and it's saved. I don't have to mess with a map or compass or protractor or anything like that. It's very easy for administrative purposes to just drop a point and I know where it is. So when you're doing your AARs or whatever, there's no question as to how things unfolded. So that's the real world reason as to why I'm having a device at the center of my chest here. And that is a closure via button. Just pop that guy open and then it opens up, right? There is my old phone, I think it's an iPhone 14, whatever. And this guy has a nice little piece of Velcro that can fold down on itself and close, or you can tuck it behind it, what have you. But I have my device there, a pen. I need to get one with an actual stylus on the end. That would be more specific and specialized to this role. But a little pen slot here for what have you. Write in the Rain notebook, this is a small guy for like little note takings or whatever. And that sits in the pouch as well. And that is just attached via MOLLE to that Axle JTAC adapter. So as far as the adapter, and same thing with the sack pouch, the way that they all connect to the chest rig itself is by this back panel here. So this is a Velcro lining on the back of the chest rig that allows you to hook these pouches to itself. So it's got this hook backing that obviously you slap on whatever you want to slap onto there. And then you take this guy, you throw it over top of it, you line it all up nice so that the abrasive hook isn't up against your body, obviously. Drop this guy on, and you're all sealed up, and you have like the expansion capabilities that loop field provides. So that's a nice little touch. Kind of standard nowadays, and for good reason. And on the inside here, the back side, continuing on with that location, you can kind of see these two pouches. I've got tourniquets in here currently. What they're designed to serve as are radio pouches. So the bottoms here adjust via Velcro, so I can either loosen it and create more space for a longer radio, shorten it for either a shorter radio or a tourniquet or a magazine or what have you. Again, anything in that size range of like an AR mag will fit in there. So I like that they're sewn in and built in. I don't need to have any like wing expansion capabilities to put on a radio or what have you. And these tourniquets are kind of just placeholders in there for now, because you should have at least one on you. Continuing on with the backside, their back strap is included here, and they give you plenty of material. This comes for large-bodied individuals, I would say. And I've cut down, as you can see. I cut and my burn there, and there's still quite a lot of fabric left that I've got in the tri-glide buckles here. Why did I leave a lot of fabric, you may ask? The reason is layers, and for use in different seasons. So depending on what I'm wearing, whether I'm wearing this over a big jacket or under a big jacket, you know, donning and doffing again, throwing on a puff jacket over top of it or what have you. I might want to be able to expand the back strap so it can get over top of more layers, depending on what I'm doing, obviously. Now, something unique to me anyway, that I haven't seen other companies do, is it has this like elastic ends to it. I guess that would be the proper way to say that. And they seem to hold up all right. I was a little concerned about these at first just because they don't seem that robust, and you can kind of see a little bit of fraying in there. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. The individual elastic strands kind of coming loose and dislodging, and kind of protruding out a little bit, but it's minimal. I've used this a fair amount, and the fact that they're kind of holding up the way that they are makes you feel pretty confident in them. And again, that's not like all that big a fix if they were to break. It doesn't like deadline the item, if you will. But they both are quick disconnect via the buckles at the end, so you can swap this out if you don't want something along those lines. But having that flex built into the back strap is nice, especially when maybe you don't want to adjust it and you're throwing on another layer or whatever, and it gives you that little extra oomph. Or when you're running, it does keep it retained, but it allows you to breathe, which is very nice, particularly if you're like doing a movement with a pack on. I don't want to be restrained by my gear. So it's a nice built-in flex factor, if you will. The included back strap, I am a fan of. It's an H-harness setup, as you can see it here, and I like this guy a lot. The stitching, I am a fan of in the back, and the way that they did this. With the Onward Research, their recce rig, they took the like the armpit strand, if you will, and then tied it into this back piece by folding it upon itself and stitching it. And it kind of creates a hot spot for me because you have layers upon layers of the same fabric folded on itself. And I don't like that as much as this design here. This is all kind of, it's one line running into this main fabric and stitched in as such, so you don't have that overlapping folding of materials, which I like. It looks wide, like the yoke, if you will, kind of looks wide, and I think it's a good design decision because you don't feel it on you. It's not like the old Alice Y harness where it comes to a spot and like I can feel that like pinching on the insides of my neck. This just rides along the outside of my traps, and it doesn't grate on my neck at all. So I'm really a big fan of the H-harness setup that they have included with this. On the front of the H-harness, they have multiple molly columns here. So this one on the bottom and the one on the top are that elastic material. Again, so you get some flex built into it. The middle two are just your standard webbing material. There's no stretch factor there. And then they have these elastic retaining Velcro, not elastic, I'm sorry. These Velcro retaining straps kind of sewn into the strap itself, which is nice, whether it be for retaining camelback straps or comms cables or antennas or what have you. Having the ability just built in to kind of wrap itself up and keep things in order and not flopping all over the place is a nice touch. You know, kind of like the devil's in the details kind of a thing. So I like that. It doesn't get in the way, at least for me. So I like that. Like I said, it's a nice added touch. In between the back and the front, if you will, behind the magazines, there is a Velcro flap, like an admin pouch. What I've done there, and this was not an original idea, I saw this on Instagram, and I'm sorry I can't remember who it was that posted it. I will give you credit. But they took a Magpul DACA pouch and just took some Velcro with, you know, its adhesive side, and then took that DACA pouch with the Velcro, put the Velcro strip, and then slipped the DACA pouch into the admin pouch. So that way they have a DACA pouch built into that admin sleeve there. So it kind of waterproofs it a little bit. And the zipper, I find, is more accessible than just like pulling the two clamshell parts apart from each other to get into it. So the zipper gives me like some accessibility. Open it up, and I keep a larger Right in the Rain notebook in here. It is a little tight, but it's certainly feasible. So if I have larger maps or larger notebooks or what have you, I do have some admin capability with this kit for sure, which is a requirement as far as I'm concerned. So that's a nice little gee whiz kind of upgrade that I would recommend with this guy if that's a concern for you. Overall, I am a big fan of this chest rig. It's a refined, simple product. That's really all this is. It's not like a pieced together, piecemeal setup like a Spiritus Systems product is, which I have a thing too. I believe it is. Like I'm all in on the Spiritus ecosystem. But that being said, it can get overwhelming, and this is just simple. This is a refined, simple chest rig. It has the bass lines, and it does the bass lines extremely well, but still having the modernized touches built into it that allow you to kind of expand the capability. So I'm a big fan of that. But other than that, that's pretty much it when it comes to the chest rig. This is like my go-to medium setup now. I can carry quite a lot of magazines with it, and I can get my baseline loadout for most jobs. And it is in the classic, always relevant, always stylish Ranger green coloration. I believe they have it in Coyote Brown, Ranger Green, Multicam. I think that's it. I don't think they have it in black. But you know, your big three: Ranger Green, Coyote Brown, and Multicam. They've got this in. So whatever flavor suits you best, you got one here. Again, this is kind of a Brilliances in the Basics product. I wear this quite often now when I'm doing things. I've gone on multiple rucks with this guy. I've done multiple courses of fire, you know, multiple training days on the range with this guy. It's won me over, and I'm a big fan of it. So I would recommend this guy highly if you're in the market for that medium load carriage capability, right? This is not a micro rig. This is not like 3 magazines and an IFAC or something along those lines. You can carry a decent amount of stuff. This is not like a week on end sustainment loadout, if you will, but there's quite a lot here that I can have quite a lot of capability with. So again, if you're in the market for a setup such as this, Trex Arms Quad Flap gets a solid recommend from myself.